Advertising in the 1920s. The 1920s, also known as the Roaring Twenties, had a big impact on the United States. The Roaring Twenties was a phrase that helped characterize this significant time period. New inventions, the stock market, an overall economic boom, and of course advertising were all contributors to the naming of the phrase. John Pemberton, the inventor of Coca-Cola, stepped into the advertising world and achieved great success. One of his top claims in the past while advertising Coke was that it relieves fatigue. Some of his advertisements showed women with the popular hairstyles and desired clothing on. This showed how Pemberton was trying to make his drink appeal to the consumers. Coke advertisements actually helped shape the image of the Santa Claus we know today. The jolly old man in the red suit with the white beard? Yep, that's how Coca-Cola portrayed him in their ads. The invention of the radio in the 1920s helped the advertising world tremendously. It wasn't until the late 1920s that the radio stations decided to put in advertisements. Before the ads came into play, the stations were non-profit. WEEF was the first radio station to have commercial advertising. Department stores, churches, and governments saw radio as a way of putting themselves before the public as a public service. Direct advertising was the key to financial success in the broadcasting world. At first, many were hesitant to put their ads on the radio. After Queensboro Corporation successfully promoted apartment sales in Queens, New York, other companies followed.
Have you tried Wheaties? They're whole wheat with all of the bran. Won't you try Wheaties? For wheat is the best food of man. They're crispy and crunchy the whole year through. The kiddies never tire of them, and neither will you. So just buy Wheaties, the best breakfast food in the land.
In 1926, Wheaties presented a jingle, one that was catchy and got the listener's attention. Before the ad, Wheaties cereal wasn't doing so well out in the market, but as soon as the jingle hit the radio, sales picked up. Jingles were very successful because you weren't just listening to someone talk about the product, you were hearing it in a different form. Not only was Wheaties presented in radio ads, but it was also advertised in magazines. Magazines also offered great opportunities for the advertising world. Ford knew how to direct the ads towards certain people. For example, one of their advertisements said freedom for the woman who owns a Ford. Another shows a young boy. It was said that the Ford Runabout is a profitable partner and a happy companion for the boy who is making his mark in business and at school. Sears, Roebuck & Company issued a mail-order catalog known as the Consumer's Bible. With well over 100 pages, this catalog had almost everything you could imagine: clothing, furniture, entertainment items, and so much more. When purchasing more expensive items, using a credit card was accepted by Sears. Not only was Sears accepting the use of credit cards, but most stores that sold bigger and more expensive items were also accepting them too. Advertising sold merchandise from high to low prices, and those high-priced items helped launch the credit card shopping sprees. Buy now, pay later, a slogan that changed history, was introduced because credit cards were invented. In advertisements, they never failed to mention if credit was accepted to purchase a certain item. That was due to the fact that many people didn't have enough money to buy something big and pay the fee all at once. The Roaring Twenties came to an end with a big crash. And yes, I'm talking about the stock market crash of 1929. People spent money they didn't have in the first place, with no intentions of ever paying it back. Invisible money was invested into the stocks. People kept buying shares, even with the warning signs clear out in the open: falling car sales, lower steel production, and a slowdown in housing construction. The Roaring Twenties was such a significant time period. Advertising in the 1920s had its perks and major downfalls. It has overall shaped America's history.